He has spoken on the topics faith, family and freedom in Cuba, Belgium, Brazil, Congo, UK and all over the USA to crowds from 14 to 40,000. International leadership speaker, trainer and coach. Author of Learn to Raw Leadership, Attitude Hack, Live a More Excellent Life, 5 Battle Strategies of a Victorious Warrior. 2021 President's Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Founding partner of the John Maxwell team. Toastmaster International Speech Competition semi-finalist. Founder of Tell It Like It Is TV, ThatGuyRocks.com and ThatGuySpeaks.com. Creator of Storypower TV, Transforming Grace TV, and Leading Leaders Podcast. Producer of 4 TV programs and podcasts for Liftable TV and World Trumpet Television as well as multiple social media channels. Please help me welcome J. Loren Norris.
I told her, I'm sorry, I'm not a speechwriter. That's not what I do. I mean, yet, okay, so yeah, I'm a speech coach and Storypower coaching is, well, that's what I do, but writing your speech for you, that's not what I do. I'll help you with that. But it's not my job to write your speech, because when I write your speech, you can't deliver it. And if somebody said, oh, I love what you said in your speech, tell me more. You're toast, because you don't know what I wrote for your speech. So no, I'm not going to write your speech. That's what I want to talk about in this episode of Leading Leaders. You're going to want to stay tuned for this, because I'm also going to make a very special, very limited time offer. And you may want to take advantage of this. I'm telling you, it's wow. Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom. I'm J. Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast. And I've been doing the Storypower Masterclass and teaching people how to tell their stories better for almost 15 years now. I actually started it by accident. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just listening to people in a circle of people at a big event. There were 10 of us in the circle, and everybody was kind of talking about their product, their sale, what they were supposed to be doing, and then we'd all just learn how to do an elevator pitch. And so everybody was doing their elevator pitch, and I was listening to all of them going, I don't understand what you do or why you do it. I mean, I get that you have this thing, and in your mind it's the best thing in the world, but I don't understand why you bother with that thing. And is it the thing du jour? Is this the offer of the day? Is it the best thing you can come up with for right now? Or are you like heart and soul invested in this? And the more I listened to them, the more frustrated I got. And I'm sure you have as well. You go to network meetings and people pop up like popcorn all around the room, and it's like an inverse version of whack-a-mole. And they tell a little bit about their product or their service, and they really want you to buy, and they really believe that right here, right now, you're going to decide to do business with them because they made the best presentation of their thing, service, offer, whatever it is. And that's not necessarily untrue. I mean, let me put that in a bizarre context. I used to sell advertising, and I've sold advertising for a lot of different vehicles. One of those vehicles, mediums, medias, was the Yellow Pages. I know if you're under 30, you might not even know what a Yellow Pages is. But it was a big book that people had their phone numbers listed in. Before everybody had cell phones, if you owned a business, you had to have a business line. And if you had a business line, your name was listed in the Yellow Pages. But here's what we discovered about the Yellow Pages and the psychological application of it. Nobody read the Yellow Pages for the articles. If you know, you know. Nobody read the Yellow Pages for the articles. In fact, nobody even picked it up until they were in a crisis, which means they're already in a buying mode. They already want something. Chances are they already know what that something is. They want a plumber. They want an AC guy. They want somebody to put new landscaping in. They want somebody to mow their yard. They want somebody to fix a flat tire. They want somebody to buy baking goods from, to buy cookies from, to build a shed in the backyard, to put together their daughter's quinceañera. But they already know what that thing is. And they've already decided I'm going to buy. The only purpose for going to the Yellow Pages at that time, kind of like going to Yelp now, is to decide, I know I'm going to buy this thing. I know I'm ready to spend money on it. Who will I buy it from? That was the only decision. And so when you get to the Yellow Pages, or to Yelp, or to Bing, or to Google, or however you do your searches, you already know you want this thing. You already know you're ready to buy this thing. All you're looking for now is the best qualifications. Who offers all the features and benefits that you're in search of? And who's going to give it to you at the best deal? That's it. That's what the Yellow Pages was for. Nobody takes the Yellow Pages to go sit on the front porch with a cup of tea and enjoy the ads. Nobody. You don't even pick it up until you're ready to buy. See, here's the challenge. Both in that little circle of 10 and in every network meeting you've ever been to, people try to use that 30 seconds, that 1 minute, that 2 minutes of time to be a Yellow Pages ad. That's what they consider to be an elevator pitch. If you had this full page ad, this 2-page website, this landing page, how would you hook people into buying from you like right now? And here's the challenge. There's this massive psychological dichotomy, a grand divide between your pitch and their desire to buy. And I don't mean that because your pitch or your thing or your offer or your service is not a valid application, but because they didn't come to buy. They didn't come to this network meeting. They didn't join this circle of people. They didn't sit down for coffee because they were looking to buy your product or service. I mean, of course, like every other advertising vehicle, you've got to be in front of their face between 7 and 21 times. That's why Grant Cardone says, get attention, get attention, get attention, get attention, get attention. And when you get attention, get some more attention, get some more attention. Because the more attention you get, the better chance you have that your name is known and people do business with you. All of that is true. But let me tell you, for those who are leaders who rely on the power and depth of their influence to make a change in somebody's life or business, most people aren't looking for that in the Yellow Pages, on Google, on Bing, on Facebook Market. They're not out there searching going, I need to buy right now, I need to buy right now, I need to buy right now. Instead, what tends to happen is that they hear someone say something and they think to themselves, later. I bet they know something I don't know. I bet they have some insight I haven't yet become aware of. I bet if I just spent some time picking their brain, I could learn something from them. Maybe like a mentor, maybe like an advisor, a consultant, a coach. And the truth that sits behind that usually doesn't come from an overabundance of words. It comes from some pithy illustration in a brief period of time where the wisdom really shines and doesn't sound like this overwhelming elevator pitch. It's not a sales pitch. It's just the who that I am. Let me put all that back into context. As I stood around in this circle, I heard 10 different people give elevator pitches about their product, about their service, about their offer. Bob Berg says it best. We do business with people we know, like, and trust. I knew about their product. I knew about their service. I heard the special of their offer, but it didn't make any sense to me because I didn't know if I wanted to do business with that person. Maybe their product was perfect, but I don't know who they are or why. And I tend to be the kind of person, like I believe many people, perhaps even most people are, and that is, I like to know who I'm doing business with, not just what they offer. I mean, there are some things that I buy that I don't care where I get my garbage bags. I don't put a whole lot of thought into my garbage bags. I get the best price garbage bag that's not going to break and leave my garbage all over the floor when I try to put it in the dumpster. That's pretty much the end of my concern. Now, if I knew for a fact that there were people making garbage bags that were making them from, I don't know, puppies, I would not want to buy those garbage bags. But barring a whole lot of research, I'm not going to know that. On the other hand, the people who show up in my house to clean my house, the people who educate my children, the people who provide services that directly involve my family, I want to know who they are. I might start with Yelp. I might end with a background check. because those are big, important deals. If somebody's going to advise my business on how to manage and handle money, or manage and handle people, or manage and handle transition, or manage and handle change, how do we navigate this new financial landscape that we're facing? You better believe a great sales pitch is not going to close that deal until I get to know the person, the who, behind that offer. So here's what I want you to know. As I stood in that circle listening to everybody's elevator pitch, their greatest sales pitch, I realized there were some really fascinating characters in that circle. And one of those characters, I heard her make her pitch, and everybody looked at her like deer in the headlights. But I had already had a conversation with her while we were refilling our coffee cups. And I knew a little bit about her and her background and why she did what she did, which seemed to me to be significantly more important than the sales pitch she just offered. So when it came my turn, I didn't talk about me at all. I told her story that she told me over coffee, but I told it in a unique format, the way that I teach my clients to tell stories. And when I was done, there was not a dry eye in the circle. And before we got back to our seats, every one of the products that she brought with her was sold. I have one. It's an alabaster carving of a deer on a mountainside that's made for a hot plate, so I can put hot things on it when I'm clearing the stove to cook the next thing. I still have it, almost 15 years later. It has lasted well, and it's still a beautiful little piece. And it's a great conversation piece. But it was because of the story of who she was and why she does what she does, that's what caused people to buy. Not the quality of the product, not the features, benefits, and advantages of the product. That's not what they wanted to buy. They wanted to buy the person. So, Storypower coaching. Do I help people write speeches? Yes. Do some people use them for elevator pitches? I'm sure they do. Do some people use them to close a deal in a sales presentation? I'm sure they do. Do some people stand on a platform for their cause? Well, yeah. I have a lot of clients who are heads of ministry. I have a lot of clients who are politicians, and they will use what we discover together in Storypower coaching to build their platform for their ministry, for their individual businesses, for their next campaign. But see, here's what really happens in Storypower coaching, because we spend a whole lot of time not just writing a speech, open, body, close, call to action. That's it. That's not what we spend most of our time doing. What we spend most of our time doing is what I call mining for stories. Now, if you've ever had any kind of counseling, marriage counseling, one-on-one, coaching, mentoring, where you sit down with somebody and you just discuss the events of your life, the stories of your life, the incidences of discovery in your own life, here's what happens. It can be a bit cathartic, to use a big word. If you don't know what that word is, look it up. It'll mean a lot to you after you read it. Cathartic. When you tell your story to somebody else, that natural process of healing that allows somebody else to reevaluate what maybe they've been thinking over in their head for years, but they've never got it out on the table and then looked at it and went, I didn't realize I was thinking that. That's really a big deal. And now that I put all the pieces on the table at the same time, I wonder, did it really even happen like that? Are my emotions about that event, that incident, that time frame, are they even valid? And when I tell that story to you in this mirror of relationship, I wonder how you feel about my story. I wonder if how I feel about my story is even accurate. And if how you feel about my story is damaging, how many other people have I told that story that way and caused pain in their life or confusion or led them to not do business with me, led them to think differently about me, and in a way that's not true. See, here's what really does happen in Storypower coaching is that I'm not here to write your speech. I'm here to squeeze your pineapple, because I don't care how much pressure you're under. When you're under pressure, what comes out is what's on the inside. My job is to put you under pressure. My job is to squeeze you until what's actually in there is what comes out. Not the perfect speech necessarily. It may not be the winning presentation. It may not be the one that wins the contest for you. But when you're put under a lot of pressure and you begin to see what comes out and you look at it and go, ooh, that's not what I wanted, then you might realize I'm trying to write a speech that isn't true to the who that I am. I'm trying to write a speech, make a sales pitch, make a presentation, present myself in the leadership of this role as a campaign, as a political advisor, as a politician, as a ministry leader, as a pastor, as a therapist. I'm trying to tell a story that people will buy into and they'll go, that's what I want. But then the depth behind is not what they're really going to get. See, I have the same fear for people who use AI to write their speeches. Oh, you may get the right flowery words. It may have all the manipulations of psychological advantages and persuasion and built into it. I can't argue with that. AI is really quick. AI's got a deep database. AI's got some great information. And here's my fear, though. If AI wrote your speech and you sign up clients as a result of that, is AI also going to deliver everything you promised? Because the challenge is that AI has solved for you already, you're not yet skilled to solve, or you wouldn't have asked AI. I'm just saying. If you have hired someone because of a great, well-written ad campaign, and then been misled, or you've not quite got the deliverables that you expected. I can't tell you how many clients I work with who signed up for XYZ program, and I'm not going to mention any names. There are at least a dozen where they've signed up for that program, put their money on the table, joined the program, showed up on every call, blah, 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 blah. And when they're done, they call me and they still go, I don't know what my content is. I don't know what story I want to tell. In fact, I'm not even certain yet who I help or how. I just have all the mechanisms to promote it. I now know that I need to do a summit or a webinar or speak on stages or do a TED Talk or a TEDx Talk, and I need to show up in these places. And while I've got all the invitations, I don't know what to say. And I think to myself, if you'd started with what to say based on the who that you are, the odds are the invitations would have come on their own. You wouldn't have had to spend near as much time building all these mechanisms to create a funnel. How do I know? Because the clients that I've worked with directly who are cause-oriented, who are driven passionately by a thing that changed their lives, they're beating off speaking engagements with a stick. Stop, I can't go, I'm not available, I can't do this one. I have to choose between these two. Look at somebody like a Nick Vujicic. He's booked more often than he wants to be booked. He has to be selective about which events he takes. There are some that are so near and dear to his heart that he doesn't even want to get paid for them. And then there are some that he's like, I'm not doing that unless you pay me like $5 million, which really should push him off the chart. And they're like, okay, we'll pay it. He's like, That's the case with people who are cause-oriented, cause-driven, passionate about what they're doing, and they can clearly articulate it. Now, Nick is not a client of mine. We have shared this stage together for a very brief period of time. I've had some fairly lengthy conversations with him and been in many meetings that he has hosted or led. He doesn't know who I am. He might not even remember taking the pictures with me. I get that. That's fine. He's a superstar. I'm not. My job in this season is to get behind somebody else, the next Nick Vujicic, to get behind you and push, to squeeze you until what comes out is pure, sweet, delectable pineapple juice, to put you under pressure, to get those stories to come to the surface, to talk about those stories. So I study a lot of psychology. I study a lot of theology. I study a lot of sociology and politics. I listen to all of the talking heads on many, many sides. I read a lot of literature that worldview-wise, I don't even agree with. Why? Because I want to know when I hear somebody else speak a phrase, are they quoting something that they don't necessarily believe in? They just believe that that quote has traction in the sociology, has traction in the social world, in social media, or in the news cycle. That just by using that phrase, all of a sudden they're cast in a category that maybe they don't even believe in, but it sounds right for the day. See, when I more deeply understand what those phrases are, I can call them on it and go, okay, so if you say X, then you also believe Y, Z, and often they're like, no, I don't believe that. Okay, but that's what you just said. Because that phrase indicates this whole worldview. Oh, no, I don't believe like that. Then I would caution you about using that phrase. Because the presumption of your entire audience is that you fall into this category, and that category may not agree with the who that you are. See, here's what my leadership clients find when we start the Storypower coaching process. Well, yes, they learn to be better communicators and better speakers. They learn to be better leaders because they learn to be better people. We talk about all of those things that came up in your past and all the incidences and perhaps the trauma. And no, I'm not a psychologist and I'm not a therapist, and I am ordained, but I'm not a licensed minister. That's not what I do. That's not my role. That is my field of study for the background to be competent at what I do. Can I help you be a better speaker? Yes. Can I help you with your stage presence? Yes. Can I help you with some of the things you articulate in a sales presentation? Yes. I was very successful in sales. But the real purpose for what I do is to put you under pressure so you can find out who you really are. So that when you get to that cause, that vision, that assignment, that one place where that's the hill you're ready to die on, that you will not back off of that cause, that ideology, that purpose. You won't back off of that for nothing. Hit me with a school bus, I'm still coming. I believe this so firmly. Everything in my being knows this to be true, and I want to push this idea forward. How then do I take that idea to a world that may be overwhelmed with noise and not able to hear me? How do I become so poignant that in a 30-second, not elevator pitch, but story about me, people go, ooh, I like your thoughts. I like your ideas. I do roadside merchandising as a third hustle right now, just for giggles, just for a little extra cash. Taking my wife on a cruise for our anniversary, which is tomorrow, 30 years tomorrow. Can you believe it? She must be crazy. But we're going on a cruise, so I want a little pocket change to go on the cruise with. So I've been selling t-shirts and merchandise on the side of the road in a political circle. Yesterday, I was having a conversation with a former CIA guy, ironically enough, and his wife. And we're having this deep conversation. She's just sitting in the car. And as he's getting back around the car to get back in, he's a Vietnam vet, then was a CIA guy, very intelligent guy, very well-read guy, obviously. As he's getting back in the car, we said our goodbyes, we shook hands. I shook hands with his wife, and she looked at me, she looked at her husband, she said, you know, I think this guy's as intelligent as you are. It was like 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes max that we had a conversation. Because I study to show myself approved. I dig in to the scripture, to the dictionaries, to the thesauruses, to the history books. I want to know what you expect me to know. And if I don't know, then I'll know where to find it. All right. I've said all that to say, there are a whole lot of clients who come to me thinking, help me write this one speech, I've got this big presentation. And we finish that one speech and get them through that big presentation, and then they call me back and they're like, you know, the time that I worked with you made a deeper impact in my life than my marriage therapy, than my personal counselor, than my coach, than my mentor. I think back to my college days, and I haven't been provoked to think and have conversations like you and I had by anybody in my life, and I want more time to do that. That's an executive level coaching relationship. But it all starts with, what is the psychology behind your story? How do you tell it? Where do you find it? Where do you mine those stories? What comes out of you when I put you under the pressure of asking about those personal stories? So I want to make an invitation to you. I don't do this often. This is only the second time I've offered this special offer, but here's my offer to you. There'll be a link in the description. And in that link, you're going to have a place to click. The Storypower Academy, self-paced, already has close to 50 hours worth of online content where we dig into the study of the psychology of story. What does a co-opted nth mean? Why is that better than a word picture? What does it mean to tickle the RAS with a statement so that that seed planted later comes back like the grass burrs in your doggy's whiskers? How do you do that? Why would you do that? What happens when you do that? All of that is in this 29 video set of the Storypower Masterclass online. But in addition to that, there's the 6 windows into Storypower. There's the 4 faces of Storypower. There's the 6 stories that every leader needs to tell. And more added every week. Plus, starting in October, once a month, we will have a Q&A call that will go as long as it needs to for everybody that's in the group to be able to have their questions answered about what they've been studying. Now, that course is $19.97 or $200 a month, whichever way you want to do that. But linked below is a special offer that if you click on that link between now and midnight, September the 3rd, which is my 30th anniversary, between now and midnight, September the 3rd of 2024, if you click on that link, you get the same program for $597. Not $1997, not $200 a month, $597, one-time pay, you get the whole program. 12 monthly calls, 29 hours plus, 29 videos plus. We're already well into 10 hours. I may have said 29 hours. There's 29 videos that I know of. That's just in one set. There are half-hour segments that are being added every single week. This is a very great offer for you. If you just want to get into my circle, get in my world, hear how I teach, hear the stuff that's behind the scenes, this is the place to do it for $597. You can't hardly go wrong. That's $50 a month. That's $12.50 a week. That's less than $3 a day. I'm telling you, you're not going to find it anywhere else. It's going to dig into you more than you could possibly imagine. Now, if you want to go to the next level, there's a mastermind group where we have weekly calls as well as, and if you want to go to the highest level, that executive coaching level, only 10 people get in the executive coaching level, you can do that as well. It's $25K a year for those 10 people. But when we're done at the end of a year, you will be ready to walk on a stage at any level, 5,000 people, 500,000 people, and deliver your cause, your message, your story at a level like you never have before. That's the promise of the program. And you have 2 hours with me every week for an entire year, plus all of the online content. That's only for 10 people. That's the highest level. But for $597, click the link below and you can join the Storypower Academy, self-paced, immediately have access to everything that's in there. It's not trickled out. Everything that's in there you'll have access to. You can start at your own pace, take the video course, the 30-minute course, or dive into the 29 videos and get busy. But I'm going to tell you right now, Storypower is not just a public speaking course. This is not an AI tool that's going to help you write a speech that you can use tomorrow. I'm not writing speeches for you. I'm making you a better person with the skill sets of leadership and communication skills that you need to be a masterful communicator, not a speech giver. Not a motivational speaker who has all the right tips and tools and tricks. I listened to somebody the other day say, if XYZ presidential candidate would just use these 3 tricks in their speaking, they would have so much stronger a campaign. And I thought, well, yeah, but the substance of their content doesn't change. The moral value of their character doesn't change. The tips and the tricks make your speech sound better, might make people go, yay! So what? If at the end of the day, you can't deliver on the promises because you just polished a great speech. Maybe you've heard that old phrase, you can't polish a turd enough or put lipstick on a pig. Still a pig, still a turd. Until the who that you are becomes leadership worthy, communication worthy. Until you really dig into who you are, put yourself under pressure, ask yourself those tough questions. Masterfully communicating can be manipulative. Narcissists do it all the time. But becoming a better person, that's harder work, but it's worthwhile. That's my challenge to you. Dive into the Storypower Academy. For less than $50 a month, you can jump in and go, ooh, that's not for me, or, oh, that was awesome. But it's not a huge investment, and you're going to discover a lot. And if you decide to take that to the next level, I'll credit you the $597 for whatever other program that you want to do. I don't do refunds. And I don't do that guarantee that says, wow, if you don't like it, because here's what I know. Good quality coaching is like a gym membership. You're going to pay for it. And you're either going to show up and take advantage of it, or you're not. I've had clients who paid up front for 6 months worth of coaching. Never returned a phone call, never returned an email, never visited the online course. A year and a half later, they call me, they're like, hey, can I get my money back? No, because if I paid Planet Fitness every single month for 2 years and I never went to the gym, Planet Fitness is not going to refund my money. And I'm not going to refund your coaching money. So if you put the $597 in, my advice to you is take full advantage. Take full advantage. Apply yourself every opportunity that you get. You can watch these videos on your phone. You can take notes. You can download the files. You can do it all from your phone, from your iPad, from your laptop, from your desktop. You could put them in your ear and listen like a podcast over and over again until you get it in your brain. But apply yourself if you're going to invest in it. I'm going to invest in you. Will you invest in yourself? Not just the financial investment, but the emotional, the psychological. And oh yeah, you're going to come to these times where that thing's going to ask you to tell a story and you're going to go, I don't want to talk about that. Okay. You can dig the festered splinter out now, or you can deal with the infection later. It's totally up to you, but this is what Storypower does. This is not your average speech class. This is not Toastmasters. This is not elevator pitching. This is not a LinkedIn sales tool. This is life-changing work about the content of your character, the who that you are, that makes you leadership and communication skill worthy. The result of that will be people begging you to be on stage. I'm just saying. I hope you'll take a chance to dive in. Click the link below, get that $5.97 offer. And if for some reason that link doesn't work, send me a private message and I'll make sure you have access. I'm J. Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for StoryPowerCoach.com and StoryPowerAcademy.com. And Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.
Lauren is a master teacher on storytelling, and I learned so much. I'm really going to have to sit down and go back through everything, and I think I might have to have some more coffees with Lauren, but it was totally worth my time, and I really highly recommend it if you're looking to grow your ministry, grow your business, grow your career. Lauren will serve you well.